Shambolic Everton nil. Patient Arsenal 1. 1-0 to the Arsenal. 1-0 to the famous Arsenal. The famous scoreline. People, we did it. We did it. We got the win at Goodison Park. 6 years. I still can't believe, I cannot believe that. How was that possible? That we last won it with Wenger. Like, what? Anyways, player ratings. Here we are. Let me share my screen. It's going to be an interesting player ratings. Reason why I say that is because, the starting 11 that we saw start today, I didn't expect. I'll be honest and I'll be real. It was interesting to see Mikel Arteta being flexible, showing a different side to his game, to his management style, showing us that this season, as seasons go, he's gonna he could be molded into changing aspects of his management, and that definitely is something that we've seen here. Having two keepers rotating, it doesn't sound good, and I'm sure it won't be good in the long run. But let's see. Yeah. Of course, we're gonna start with the keeper. David Raya. David Raya, I think he had a brilliant performance. I'll be honest and I'll be real. As I said in my reaction video, he was calm, he was composed, did the things he needed to do when he needed to do them. Last minute, sort of coming out the box and just sweeping. He was, yeah, man. He played like the number one. He played like a number one, and I'm gonna give him a high 9 because the fact that he kept a clean sheet, didn't do too much throughout the game. I'll be honest and I'll be real, but essentially he still looked like, yeah, he's a top keeper. Debut, he could have been more nervous. He could have been a bit more jittery, but that wasn't the case. He looked like he'd been playing for Arsenal for years, so he gets a 9. We move into that back four, my people. The famous Arsenal back four of Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel Zinchenko. Ben White, for me, Ben White always gives you solid performances. Sometimes a few things you can point at, here and there, but then again, you're more or less reaching, especially in a game like this where clean sheet away from home at ground that we hadn't won in 6 years. He gets an 8 for me. Saliba gets a 9 because I think Saliba was a bit more involved in the duels, in the tussles. It was a bit tricky. I think he had Beto's pocket, the striker, the Everton striker, but overall, he had to. There was a few times where they tried to kind of stretch the game and things like that, and Saliba had to be on his toes. Um, he gets a 9 for me. Gabriel, I have to give Gabriel an 8. I know he was, his usual sort of solid self and stuff like that. But at times it's just like, even I remember in the last 5 minutes or so, there was of stoppage time, there was a moment where he could have literally just cleared it. And even a commentator, I think Gary Neville even said like, "Wow, like it looks like he's a bit leggy right now. Gabriel looks leggy." And yeah, it was a tricky moment where we could have lost possession. He could have been dispossessed, and then Everton would have been literally on Raya's sort of doorstep. But yeah, he gets an 8 for me. Zinchenko, brilliant passes today. We saw his range of passes, some misplaced ones, sometimes, just being a bit too passive in possession. But when he's good in possession, then he's really elite good in possession. And he knows the right places to fill, the right positions to be in, and spaces to fill within a pitch. And I think he had a good performance as well. I think a lot of our play came from Zinchenko. A lot of our attacking sort of initiative and all of that jazz came from him. So he gets an 8 for me as well. Moving on to the midfield, Martin Odegaard, the captain, El Capitan. Captain Odegaard, he gets an 8 for me. I'm going to give him an 8 because he does what he does, have some paths, shots, this and that until it eventually works. And a lot of the times last season, for example, it worked, and he's doing what he needs to do. But I think he had a brilliant performance. I think he helped out his midfield much more than previous games, and he also was super involved in the attack as well. Great combinations with Martinelli, great combinations with Saka, but I'll stick to an 8. Declan Rice, he gets an 8 for me as well. Declan Rice, a few misplaced passes from Declan Rice, which you normally don't see. And I was like, raw boy. Like he had like 3 misplaced passes in the game, maybe even more. where they were like highlighted ones for me. The commentators, Gary Neville and them, and they weren't trying to say nothing. Right, that was Declan Rice that misplaced the pass. But it happened, and I vividly remember saying to myself, "Raw, like we don't normally see that from Dex." So, but I'm still gonna give him a very sort of high rating because I think Declan Rice, everything else that he did, he does it to elite levels, and the passing when it works, when it's accurate. Tried to have a few shots on time. I think it was two shots he tried to have it blocked. But yeah, it's just linking up, and the defensive play that this guy does is incredible, bro. Trust me, we'll not be able to have the control of the game that we had and the possession levels and percentages if we didn't have someone like Declan Rice in our midfield. So he still gets an 8 for me. Declan Rice gets an 8. Fabio Vieira, he gets an 8 for me as well. I know that he assisted Gabriel Martinelli. Was it Martinelli that he assisted? I think it was Martinelli that he assisted. And he's starting today. Wicked game. A few tussles physically that he lost. He needs to continue to improve in that. He needs to get stronger. He needs to stay on his feet more. But overall, yeah, man, he had a very good game. I don't think he disappointed in terms of starting over Kai Havertz. So he gets an 8 for me, Fabio Vieira. The front three, Saka and Ketia Martinelli. Saka for me gets a high 8. Assisted the goal, assisted for the goal for Trossard, as I said in my reaction video, looking more to his usual self, a bit more fizz about him today, a bit more confidence. They were trying to double up on him, gang up on him, and all of these things, but he was still trying to make things happen. Of course, didn't score, but he assisted, so he gets a high 8 for me. In Ketia, I'll be honest and I'll be real. Look, it's difficult, in it. It's Everton. They're gonna have two banks of whatever they're gonna have, and you got dons like the Core and all of these Bramthwaite dons. Like it's difficult in it. It's tough. I get it, but sometimes your movement needs to be a bit more. You need to be a bit more accessible to your to your colleagues, to your teammates. Like you need to be able to do you know what I mean? Like, bro, if you got to come in deep in a game that's like that, come in deep. Maybe you got told not to. I don't know. Listen, I'm gonna give him a 7 because ultimately we still won. And yes, he didn't score, and yes, it was a quiet game for him. I wouldn't say it was a poor game from Nketiah, but it was a quiet game for him. So we'll stick to that and we'll keep it at that. Moving on swiftly to Martinelli. Martinelli, bad boy finish. Woo, what a finish. That finish was nuts. Like if that goal stood, it would have been a Mazzoline. He would have definitely got man of the match for me because that was like Thierry Henry-esque, the way how he just tucked it into that corner. But it wasn't to be. Of coming off injured as well. Looks like he pulled some sort of muscle. I'm not too sure what's happening there. There wasn't really any updates in that sense. And yeah, man, look, man, I'm gonna give him a 7 because ultimately he didn't play for the vast majority of the game because he was injured. In terms of the substitutes, there were some substitutes that had impacts, definitely. So as you can see here, Zinchenko coming off for Tomayasu in the 80th minute. Fabio Vieira coming off for Havertz in the 80th minute. Gabriel Jesus coming on for Nketiah, 66th minute. And of course, the goal scorer Trossard replacing Martinelli when he was injured in the 24th minute. And out of the subs, they were all more or less solid. They were all more or less okay in terms of performances. I think Havertz, he was okay when he worked hard to maintain possession and keep our system of play flowing and stuff like that. A few neat touches. Like I didn't have anything wrong to say about his performance or when he came on or anything bad about him to say in that sense. So I'm gonna give all of them and their average 7s. Of course, Trossard being the man of the match for me, he's gonna get a 9 because the way how he kind of took that goal was a mad thing. That's left foot technique. He's right footed. Like that was crazy, and the power it had, I was so surprised it went in with that power. You know, Everton Pickford had no chance, absolutely no chance, and he was threatening. He was warning Everton that he wanted to take a shot. One thing I do like about Leandro Trossard is that when he has a chance to shoot, he will shoot. Do you know what I mean? He will shoot. And finally, the manager himself, Don Mikel. Mikel Arteta, for me, he's gonna get a 9 because I think that this was one of them kind of, this is like one of them fixtures where you wanna be able to kind of get it. Do you know what I mean? Like yeah, it's against your old team. Like the managers prior to you coming and managing that haven't done the business. You haven't done the business there. So this was important for you to make sure that you get this win. So well done. You managed the game well. It came to a point where I was even saying like, raw, like 64th minute, we need to start making substitutions because it's going a bit stale, and we need to start making some subs. We need to put some fresh legs in there. And he did that. He was reactive in that sense, as you saw there, 66th minute. We see some substitutions. And yeah, man, Mikel Arteta gets a 9. Overall, as I said, we move people, 13 points on the board. We keep pace with the pace setters, Manchester City specifically speaking. And yeah, man, I'll see you lot 4D Champions League return. Mad thing. We're back in the Champions League, people. Looking forward to that one there. Look out for the videos coming up for that. Look out for the preview video for that Champions League game. And then of course the Super Sunday Classic that's coming up. Tottenham. We face Tottenham at home. So yeah, lots of bits and bobs to come out, people, man. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And this was the player ratings for the Everton 0 Arsenal 1 victory. Come on, at Goodison Park, let's get it. We move, people. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.